This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. When we think about the COVID-19 vaccine hesitancy in the Black community, let's remember, it didn't happen by chance. It's justified in history. But the will to change the narrative is strong today, and our people are lending their voices to the conversation. We're sharing our stories and the reasons that made us choose the vaccine so we can lead the way for others to make a well-informed choice too. To hear our stories, visit hereforuswa.org.
Realtors abide by a code of ethics. This is Article 9 in action. Beth, a first-time homebuyer, knew nothing about the home buying process, except that she wanted to buy a home. But her realtor had the expertise to make sure Beth understood every document, even giving her copies to review with her lawyer so Beth could close on her first home with confidence. Complicated things explained in simple terms. The difference between an agent and a realtor is real. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
What's up? It's your boy, the Ted Smith. Thanks for listening to the Men's Room Daily Podcast. Want more? Check out the greatest podcast in all the land, The Podcast. Be sure to subscribe and listen to a brand new episode every Tuesday night.
Unfortunately, what you're about to hear is real. The members of this radio program are simply not that bright, or what some people would call educated. They are merely stupid. They're not trying to offend anyone on purpose. And all have played doctors on TV. You have been warned and are cordially invited to join the party. This is the Men's Room.
Forget it, man, and get with the countdown. Get with the countdown. Shake this square world and blast off for Kicksville. The trippers, the grasshoppers, the hip ones, all gathered in secrecy and flying high as a kite.
This is the Men's Room with Miles and Thrill. You know what they say, shake your radio more than 3 times, and you're playing with it. You're listening to the Men's Room.
Hello, we go. Welcome to Season 17, episode number 3642. Along with Steve the Thrill Hill, the Ted Smith, and Mike Hawk. Thank you. Our Men's Room. On tap today, Ryan Castle joins us from his basement dungeon studio bar, and once again, we will sit and spin. You got to start somewhere, and today we get 10 actors who got their start in a music video. We will play Profile This, plus headlines, a Men's Room shot of the day, fun listener emails, and everyone's favorite, TV Time with Ted. All right, here we go. Naked woman breaks into a man's home, takes his shotgun before using a sword to cut her face. Meanwhile, a man on a motorcycle approaches a raising drawbridge and challenges it to a race. Florida man calls the cops to see if they could test his meth to make sure it's real. Another Florida man who masturbated in Starbucks for 20 minutes asked, what's the big deal? And a Florida woman was arrested after shooting her neighbor in the face with a water pistol. That is all coming on today's very special episode of The Men's Room.
And now, here's the question.
Oh, bitches, good day to you and yours. All right, a man in his 50s. He was recently diagnosed with a condition called Black Hairy Tongue Syndrome. So what is Black Hairy Tongue Syndrome? Oh, I'm glad you asked. Black Hairy Tongue Syndrome is rather unfortunately exactly what it sounds like. Your tongue, as a result of side effects from any number of causes, ends up covered in black hairs. And I want to thank the people that published the article for including the picture. Now, not to be shallow, but for me, that would be a deal breaker. I just can't imagine real hot chick. She got a hairy tongue. I got to pass, man. I know, I'm thinking like, I don't know, Mila Kunis, right?
Have you tried it?
I haven't. I might even like it. I just don't know if I could fight through it. But speaking of hairy, a woman in England, she was diagnosed with polycystic ovary syndrome, which has a wide range of symptoms, including excessive hair growth. And in this woman's case, the excessive hair growth manifested as a massive beard. And I don't mean a few stray whiskers. We're talking like I might be on Duck Dynasty kind of beard. Full sideburns, the whole nine. Still, for me, less of a deal breaker than the hairy tongue. But again, that's just me. But there's something a little weird on everybody. And I don't mean everyone, I mean literally everybody. Skin tags, scars, poorly placed moles, questionable tattoos. And that's what we want to talk about today. Maybe it's you, maybe it's someone else. But today we want to know, what is the strangest thing that you've seen on yours or someone else's body?
Be part of the big show. Call 206-421-ROCK. Like the Men's Room on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Men's Room Live. And send your emails to the Men's Room at KISW.com.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. When we think about the COVID-19 vaccine hesitancy in the Black community, let's remember, it didn't happen by chance. It's justified in history. But the will to change the narrative is strong today, and our people are lending their voices to the conversation. We're sharing our stories and the reasons that made us choose the vaccine so we can lead the way for others to make a well-informed choice too. To hear our stories, visit hereforuswa.org.
Realtors abide by a code of ethics. This is Article 9 in action. Beth, a first-time homebuyer, knew nothing about the home buying process, except that she wanted to buy a home. But her realtor had the expertise to make sure Beth understood every document, even giving her copies to review with her lawyer so Beth could close on her first home with confidence. Complicated things explained in simple terms. The difference between an agent and a realtor is real. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
Hey, all of it, y'all. Thank you so much for listening to the Men's Room podcast.
And thanks to our pals at the Advocates Law Firm for being great partners. Yes, even you, creepy Kyle.
Seriously, though, if you'd been injured as a result of somebody else in your car, on your bike, walking across the street, talk to our friends at the Advocates Law Firm and let them help you out.
Yeah, they're the best injury lawyers around, and they want to make sure that you're not taken advantage of. Plus, your first consultation is free.
It's simple. You get injured, the advocates get results. Contact them today at advocateslaw.com.
The debauchery rolls on. You're listening to the Men's Room with Miles and Thrill. 99.9 KISW.
All of it, y'all, away we go. Welcome to Season 17, Episode number 3642. What a large and charged program we have for you today. Once again, we'll be joined by Ryan Castle from his basement dungeon studio bar. We will sit and spin. And as they say, you got to start somewhere. And today, we have 10 actors who actually got their start in music videos.
All right.
You know, some of them have won Academy Awards. Believe it or not.
Not for the music video appearance, of course.
Not for that. But they went on to be very successful actors and actresses that you know and are still relevant to this day.
Huh. Yeah. All right.
You remember back 1984... when Springsteen's Born in the USA came out. Mm-hmm. The first video was Dancing in the Dark, and there was Courtney Cox in the front row.
That is correct.
I don't know if she got her start in that video, but that's the first time that most of the public had ever seen her before.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
So believe it or not, there's more than just her.
I just remember thinking, man, who's that hot chick dancing for Bruce Springsteen? She can't dance at all.
No.
But good-looking face.
It's like Eva Mendes in the Miami video. Will Smith, welcome to Miami.
Oh, is that her big start?
It's one of the first times you see her.
Okay, yeah. So apparently a lot of people got their start in music videos. We've got 10 very popular actors and actresses that did just that. Also, don't forget, today we'll go over to the Odyssey app exclusively for the Men's Room Happy Hour and get props from the weekend there. If you don't have the Odyssey app, just download it now. It's absolutely free. And then what you want to do is you want to search for the Men's Room Happy Hour channel. Now, that channel only goes live Monday through Friday at 6 when we're here. And we do a little more men's room for you. Same rules that apply to these airwaves do not apply to the Odyssey app. So language is a little bit looser. Subject matter is a little bit looser. So keep in mind, we'd like to just warn you that this is an adult-only segment of the program. So if you could, it's not something that you want to put in the kids in the car and turn on the ride home.
No.
You know, you can stick with Taryn on that one. Yes. You all right?
Yeah, we're good.
Did you blow any snot on your skin?
Nope.
Okay.
Because I feel like you live dangerously with the sneezes by actually putting your shirt up over your nose. Because I'm like, everything comes out, man, it's just all over you.
I'm convinced one day you're going to break a rib.
Probably.
I mean, you sneeze violently. You know what I mean? Like, because people do it, man. They'll pull out their bag. They'll do all kinds of stuff.
I got a lot of air, man.
Yeah, sneezing is...
Get it out.
More dangerous than you think it is. So hopefully you'll join us today for the Men's Room Happy Hour. All right. Today on the question, we're talking about the strangest thing you've seen on yours or someone else's body. A man discovers he has a especially severe case of black hairy tongue. Now, I have seen the picture of black hairy tongue guy. Has anyone else seen the pictures of black hairy tongue?
I have not.
Yeah.
Look at it right now.
Thank you, VD, for forwarding that.
A man in his 50s showed up at a dermatology department after his, as they say, partners became concerned about the appearance of his tongue. Doctors writing in the journal described the tongue as having a thick black coating that was yellowish at the center and the back of his tongue.
It's like if Burt Reynolds were a tongue. You just looked at that, Mike?
Yes.
Additionally, his tongue showed thin, elongated black fibers that gave the appearance of a hairy surface. He was quickly diagnosed with the creatively named Black Hairy Tongue Syndrome.
Is that a diagnosis, or do you think they just made that up on the spot? Like, well, sir, those black hairs in your tongue are Black Hairy Tongue Syndrome. Yeah.
Yeah. But here's what it is. He said he was quickly diagnosed 3 months prior to this. He had a regular tongue like me and you.
Sounds like a children's book.
Then the man, he suffered a stroke that left him with weakness in the left side of his body. Now, since that point in time, he had eaten a diet of pureed food and liquids. What they say is the likely cause of his ailment.
From the liquefied food?
That is correct.
Do they explain how this works?
No. The harmless and fairly common condition...
No, it is not common.
...is caused by a buildup of dead skin cells on the tongue. This causes this stuff to coat the tongue and contain taste buds to lengthen. In turn, it's used to trap other substances like food bacteria and yeast. In this man's case, the yellow tint to parts of his tongue was likely from the food that he was eating.
Okay.
Which, food can do that to you. It depends.
Sure.
I do remember at one point in time when my daughter was in that stage of going from formula to solid foods, that she was very particular about the jarred food that she would eat.
All right.
And she gravitated toward sweet potatoes.
Okay.
And she gravitated toward carrots. Those were the two that she liked the most. Now, if you know anything about eating this food, you know that it causes a condition where your body turns orange.
Right.
So for about a week, I had a kid that looked like a pumpkin.
Right.
But I could not get her to eat the meats, the peas, the green beans, anything else.
Green beans.
She didn't want any of it. She just wanted the orange food. That was her ticket, man. And she's been that way for, it's not that she doesn't get, she's not the most creative eater in the world. Mm-hmm. This kid basically survived on chicken nuggets and ice cream.
Yeah, I got the same thing.
For about 5 to 6 years of her life. But at that stage, I remember, because I had never heard of this before, and I don't know, it just didn't seem like that information was available online, so to speak. Mm-hmm. So I had to go to the doctor and why is my kid orange?
Fair question.
And
sir, you have a pumpkin.
Oh, she has orange skin syndrome.
But it looked like she'd been sprayed with a fake tanner.
Right.
That's basically this is a 9-month kid. You know what I mean? 8-month-old kid. But she looked like she'd been going to the tanning bed.
A Jersey baby.
It was the damnedest thing you'd ever.
Hey, Dad.
Yeah, I swear to God, it was just and that was just absolutely insane. So
never a hairy tongue though.
No, but it can cause it. Condition be caused by a rare side effect of antibiotics, poor oral hygiene. Dry mouth, smoking, or eating a diet of soft food. As this man was, I guess you can rub off the dead skin on your tongue. Fortunately, it is treated by removing the cause of the condition and good oral hygiene. So the man's recovery has, believe it or not, been quite simple. The patient and caregivers were given advice regarding proper cleaning measures, and the discoloration resolved after 20 days, according to the doctor.
How popular do you think he would be at a truck stop?
Ooh,
I don't know what you're doing down there. It's my hairy tongue.
I also think if he stuck it out, though, you'd be like, I'll pass.
Yeah, you can't look at it first. But I'm saying if the lights are out and you're just like, man, oh man, I don't know what's going on with that mouth, but there's something special.
Do you guys know anybody that's had anything weird with their mouth before?
Not like that.
I had a roommate that I lived with for 3 years. He is a very, very good-looking guy. He is. He's got the natural build. He's just got a square jawline. Chicks love this guy, man. He is it. But he has thrush. Oh. So when he talks,
right,
everything smacks together, right? And so we'll go out. We would go out. And he's the same guy who licked that ashtray for $20, just ate the damn thing one night. But I would be like, hey, Brett, you got to wipe that crap out the corner of your mouth, man, because I think those chicks are looking at you. I'm not sure if it's that. They think you're hot. But either way, they're not going to find you real attractive when they see that piece of white string moving in the corners of your mouth, every time you talk.
Did he ever leave, if he took a sip of beer, would there be, thrush marks where his mouth was?
It just, it didn't go away. Did he pick at it? I knew a guy that had it, and he would pick at it all the time.
Not really, because you had to bring it to his attention, like, dude, wipe your mouth.
But I never like
He's like,
stuck
is it
to
bad? And you wipe it like this. It looked like, you hocked a loogie into a napkin, You're like, but then within like an hour, it'd be back. Because the more he talked, the more thrush that he would build up. So
And what is it? It's like a yeast infection of the mouth or something?
I don't know. If I had it, and I
got to Google that.
Or if somebody else that I knew had it, I would probably look it up.
I'm doing it now. Like, I know what it is.
I had a teacher who had it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't as bad as my buddies. My buddy, and for some reason, I just didn't think it was something that affected younger people that much. It just seemed like something that I had recognized on a few people that I knew who were older.
So thrush is not classified as a sexually transmitted infection, but it can be triggered by sex. Great news. Thrush is caused by a fungus called candida that's normally harmless. Thrush tends to grow in warm, moist conditions and develops if the balance of bacteria changes. This can happen if your skin is irritated or damaged.
Okay.
All right, well, there you go.
At least your buddy was good looking. The guy I knew, we used to call him Stumpy. So, I mean, this wasn't helping.
Why did you call him Stumpy?
Because
I'm guessing he's not sexy.
No, and try to explain. Like, he was a big boy like I was in high school, but he had really thin arms and legs. It was all just belly.
Right. So it's like a potato with the toothpicks.
Yeah, I mean, his family called him Stump.
Oh, yeah. Damn.
I didn't see him at the reunion. I don't know what Stump's up to now, but yeah, that was like his thing. And he made fake IDs. So he's had an in with everybody.
Right.
But yeah, that was like a thing, man. He'd be all thrushy and then gross. It wasn't a good look.
Okay. All right.
So I'm saying, your buddy's good looking. He had that going for him.
At least
he still has thrush.
Yep.
I mean, to this day, he still has thrush. And when you talk to him, it sounds like just a smacking of dry mouth. You know what I mean? It's always.
Is he married now or anything? Or?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's got kids, the whole deal.
Wow. Do the kids have thrush?
No.
Does it pass
No,
down?
they do not.
Oh.
But if you're going to, if he's going to make out with his wife, I'm sure his
That's what I'm
wife
saying. She has to fight through
hey,
a
man,
lot,
you gotta wipe your mouth off.
Right.
Before we get into it. Before we get into any action. So our question, what is the strangest thing that you've seen on yours or someone else's body? 206-421-ROCK.
I feel like that's been said before sex.
What, wipe your mouth off?
Wipe your mouth off first.
Wipe something.
Brush your teeth.
What are you eating ribs?
Please. Brush your teeth.
A couple of quick comments here. It says, I was hanging out with a girl for a bit. Once we did the deed, I realized why she held out for so long. She had the longest nipples I've ever seen, like 4 pencil erasers. It was wild. I got set up by a friend to go out with one of his friends. Date was going great until I put my arm around her on her exposed lower back and got a handful of thick lower back mane. Back pelt, sorry. Says, I'm a hairy dude, and her lower back put mine to shame. Someone else says, I was on this date with a beautiful woman, long legs, blonde hair, straight up sexy, and a body that was amazing. I was like, this chick is perfect. Then she smiled. A great white shark has a better dental plan than she did. I would rather make out with a paper shredder than her.
No.
Hello, Vinny. Welcome to the men's room.
Hey, fellas, how you doing?
Hola.
So my story isn't exactly special or interesting, but I was born with one ear, so I basically have a nub in the lower earlobe.
So you can't wear sunglasses, can you?
No, I can't, and it's really hard to wear the masks, too.
I would guess yeah. That's a good point. So you need the kind that wrap around your head.
Well, what we did is we sewed a button on the right-hand side of the hat, kind of right next to the NFL symbol.
Okay.
And so I can actually tie that side, the mask to that button and use my left ear so it still covers my entire face.
What percentage of people that you have a conversation with, right, that you don't know, do you realize are staring at the side of your head?
Actually, not very many, because it's like most people don't even notice it until like they've known me for a while, and then they're still afraid to ask.
Well,
I would have to ask, hey, man, where's your other ear?
Do you leave your hair longer to cover up that area?
When I was younger, my mom tried that for a while, but I looked like a girl, so we stopped doing that.
Okay. Right. But you can still, the ear is still functional. It's just not developed on the outside, right?
Yeah, everything on the inside works. It'd be basically like putting in the earplug and then covering your ear up with your hand. So there's still some sound that comes through, a lot of bass or high treble, but it's not like, really easy for me to understand what's going on with like music or conversation.
What about your balance? Does it affect your balance at all?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. So are you, like, notoriously clumsy?
Not really, because you kind of get used to it over the years. When I was younger, I even skateboarded and did just fine. It just takes a little while to get used to surroundings or, like, solid movements.
How about your vision? How's your vision?
Oh, my vision sucks. I'm legally blind in my left eye, and I have about 20% vision in my right.
So, as far you said, it was your left ear is the one that's underdeveloped.
No, it'd be the right ear.
So basically, your body said, "All right, well, we'll mess with the left eye, we'll mess with the right ear. At least it's all over the place."
Does that mean you're wearing contacts?
Oh no, not at all. I get injections once every 2 months. It keeps my eyes from getting any worse.
So okay, you don't need corrective anything then.
I can't have corrective anything. It doesn't help at all.
Huh? Interesting.
I guess not correct. So what are the, you said that you get shots or whatever every 2 months to prevent your vision from deteriorating?
Yes.
Now, is that something that is exclusive to your club because of the condition, or is this something, because my eyes suck too, and if I could just stop them from getting worse, I'd be delighted.
Yeah, check it out, bro.
I will.
Because it's not just me. There's lots of people who have degenerative eye diseases, and what the injections do is they keep the veins on your retina from rebuilding after the old ones die. So eventually your retina will be covered by all these little crosshairs of scar tissue and whatnot. And the injections keep the scar tissue from building.
Now, why would my doctor not tell me this? Every time I go to the eye, it's the same thing every time. Like, hey, your eyes are worse than they were last time, but it's on the trajectory they predicted. So if you know my vision's going to crap, and you tell me this every time, why not bring up something like you're telling me now? Slow it down, man.
But let me ask you this. Kids are cruel. So you're going to hear a lot of different jokes. And based on what's popular in pop culture, you're going to hear things. So was there ever any time that, was there ever any time where, you get the, can you hear me now, or any of that stuff? You know what I mean? Like, as far as just,
right.
What's the worst joke you've heard that someone who was obviously a close friend was busting you for?
Well, actually, in 2007, Ted guessed this question. The question was, what were you teased for when you were a kid?
Right.
And when I was a kid, my nickname was Buck. I had one ear. And being, around a lot of sports guys, they used to call me the Buccaneer.
The Buccaneer.
All right.
It isn't too bad. It's actually pretty clever for kids.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So not the worst one.
All right.
Damn, man. One ear.
Mm-hmm. Basically, one eye. What is the strangest thing that you've seen on yours or someone else's body? 206-421-ROCK.
Hello, Andrew. Welcome to the men's room.
Hey, guys.
Hola.
I got a weird birthmark on my left forearm. If I drew a face around it or on it, like a mouth and nose, the birthmark were like two red demon eyes.
Do you ever do that to mess with people?
Not really. Maybe I should start doing that.
Or just get it tatted.
Because there's like two red dots, and if you put your finger over my birthmark, it's kind of bumpy too.
Ew, man.
Can you? Have you ever had that?
That just sounds bad.
Have you ever had it checked out?
No, I haven't.
Because I've got I had like a big mole birthmark thing on my back, and they literally took a can of something and just froze it off, and I heard him aerosol it, and then it burned for a second, and then the next day when I was in the shower, it was
falls off.
It was on the floor of the shower.
Yeah.
It was the damnedest thing I'd ever seen. I looked
Nothing
down,
like moles in your shower.
Yeah, but when you pick it up, you're like, oh, God.
Right.
It was on my back, so I really couldn't see it. And then when I really got a chance to inspect it, I was like, that is the most disgusting thing ever.
Did you throw it out or put it down the drain?
It just went down the drain.
I keep looking at my daughter's.
It was quarter size, man. It was not like a little thing,
My daughter has a birthmark, fairly big one, and it's on the bottom of her foot, right? And that's always been her thing. So as we've done this show over the years and she's gotten older and, I'm looking at the bottom of her foot, I am convinced now that it is a nipple.
A nipple?
Because people are born apparently with three nipples.
It's common to be on feet too, isn't it?
All right, so we read that fairly recently, and then she sat next to me over the weekend, and she's kind of like crossing her feet over whatever. So her foot's just next to my head, and keep looking at it. I'm like, this is looking more like a nipple to me every time I'm looking at it.
Does it hurt?
No, I mean, she has no sensation with it or anything like that.
As long as it's not too sensitive, because that's typically a sensitive thing. So I'd have something that's sensitive on the bottom of your foot.
I'm going to poke it next time. Just poke it and see what the reaction.
Just flick it.
Right. Like if she giggles, yeah, it's funny. I mean, if she screams, and I'm telling you, I'm positive it's a nipple. Maybe I've just talked myself into that, but when I look at it kind of close, I'm like, I'm seeing more nipple than birthmark. I'm sorry. She was born with it. It's always been there. But as she's gotten bigger, it's kind of grown with her foot, so to speak. And I'm like, she got a nipple on her foot.
What is the strangest thing that you've seen on yours or someone else's body? 206-421-ROCK.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. When we think about the COVID-19 vaccine hesitancy in the Black community, let's remember, it didn't happen by chance. It's justified in history. But the will to change the narrative is strong today, and our people are lending their voices to the conversation. We're sharing our stories and the reasons that made us choose the vaccine so we can lead the way for others to make a well-informed choice too. To hear our stories, visit hereforuswa.org.
Realtors abide by a code of ethics. This is Article 9 in action. Beth, a first-time homebuyer, knew nothing about the home buying process, except that she wanted to buy a home. But her realtor had the expertise to make sure Beth understood every document, even giving her copies to review with her lawyer so Beth could close on her first home with confidence. Complicated things explained in simple terms. The difference between an agent and a realtor is real. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
Oh, fiddlesticks! What, Wilbur? We just got hit and I think my back has all been out of shape.
You gotta talk with those whippersnappers at the Advocates Law Firm. They're the best injury lawyers around.
What? Pipe down, Clarence! Abner's telling me about the lawyers and the advocates. So what happened to you, Abner?
I was walking across the street with the light when some young punk came screeching around the corner. I lost a toe.
What? Shut it, Clarence! If you get injured, the advocates get results.
AdvocatesLaw.com.
99.9 KISW. The shenanigans continue. This is the Men's Room with Miles and Thrill.
A bearded woman who gets bombarded with abuse and death threats is challenging perceptions of beauty and urging everyone to be comfortable in their own skin.
Death threats?
Yeah. She was diagnosed with polycystic ovary syndrome at the age of 12. The condition can affect as many as 1 in 10 women and 1 in every 2 South Asian women. Has a wide range of symptoms, including irregular periods, weight changes, acne, and hair growth. Excessive hair growth is something that she's experienced for a number of years after facial hair first grew in year 6 at primary school. There's always going to be something that people are going to mock you about, and unfortunately for me, it was not just the fact that I had gained a lot of weight, but I had facial hair as well. I did look a lot more odd than the other girls in my class. I stuck out like a sore thumb, so it was easy for people to harass me. I was very vulnerable, and I knew I looked different. It's just uncomfortable, the ripple effect that it had, even now. She's dealt with years of mental health issues, including self-harm, trauma, and depression. For years, she was taken by her mom to have her beard waxed, though the more she waxed, the thicker and the faster that the facial hair grew. So that's how that was. School was hell on earth for me. I struggled with deep trauma. I felt as a young girl that no one was listening to me. When she turned 16, though, she started to embrace it and let it grow out to challenge society's expectations of what a woman should look like. She said it was a defining moment in her life, and she is an internationally renowned motivational speaker now who has been on the cover of Vogue in Japan, Teen Vogue, another major publication in India. She's given a TED Talk and walked the catwalk at the London Fashion Week. So she is now a model. So she turned out.
She has parlayed that into a lot of money.
She turned that around.
Did you see the picture of her? I can see if I can find it. I mean, like I said, it's not subtle. You don't have to look real hard. I mean, Ted, it's like as big. Actually, it's longer than your beard, but the same general coverage.
All right.
Like ears all the way down, sideburns and all that. And then it hangs about as long as mine, but it's full like yours. I mean, she has a more impressive beard than most dudes that I have ever met.
What is the strangest thing you've seen on yours or someone else's body? 206-421-ROCK.
Real quick text here says let's see, apparently I have really big, ugly feet. This is according to my wife and my friends. I have a split between my big toe and the other toes. They're also very long. My big toe is longer than my thumb and twice as wide. And I can basically use them like monkey feet. It was pretty great. I smoked cigars with them once. Rock on, bitches. That from Justin.
About a month and a half ago. And I don't know what inspired him to do this, but Shaquille O'Neal decided to take to one of his social media accounts to show everyone what his feet look like.
Which is not nobody.
He's done it before.
He has like notoriously gross feet.
Yeah, he reminds everybody.
I mean, it's they're first of all, I would assume he's wearing a 17, 18, so his foot is
has to.
Right. His foot is already huge. But not only is it huge, his toes are just completely mangled up.
It is so gross looking. I don't know why he does it, but I look every time he does it.
Not that he can find flip-flops that would fit him anyway. So that doesn't really... I mean, I've never seen those.
You were close, Miles. Shaq wears 22s.
20?
That is crazy.
22s. Man. Man.
Where do you have a size 22?
You can't even walk into a shoe store.
No.
I mean, I've seen him walk into shoe stores and buy other kids' shoes.
Right.
I've seen those videos of Shaq doing a lot of good. But, I mean, he can't just go... He couldn't go into a store and buy a shirt.
No.
That to me is insane. To
Well,
think
think of,
that
like even riding a skateboard.
getting
Like,
into
you
a car.
can't put both feet on the skateboard if you weren't a size 22.
No. I bet he can't ride in amusement park rides. I mean, I'm just trying to think of all the things that he probably wouldn't. It would not be a good idea for him.
I mean,
Maybe
the number
log
one
flume.
beds.
The log flume he could do.
I mean, I would
Right.
never. If he was on a zip line, I would never go behind him.
No.
No. Because, I mean, he's
not-
such a big dude.
That's what I mean. You can't get a harness to fit.
Right. You're not going to find a harness. That's true.
I mean, I don't know what the weight bearing is on some of those carabiners, but I'm assuming you could get a strong one. But still, I mean,
But he's like 300 pounds, right?
Oh, he's got to be well over 300.
Because, I mean, you got to remember, he's almost 7 feet tall. He's a big guy.
Yeah.
What is the strangest thing you've seen on yours or someone else's body? 206-421-ROCK.
I mean, I think Shaq in his playing days when he's super fit is already 300.
You know, it's good. Like, that's the last weight I'd heard, right? When he was playing basketball. So he's probably, 360 now, somewhere
I mean,
around there?
basically, he and Barkley just go back and forth, jabbing each other about their weight.
He's 324.
324.
Who's 324?
Shaq.
That's playing weight.
There is no chance.
I mean, that's like what you got on your driver's license.
Right.
What do you have on your driver's license, Mike? What are you weighing, according to the state of Washington?
Hang on, let's see.
Now, I mean, you're right. It says 7'1", 324, but that seems crazy to me.
My weight reads at 250.
250 on that?
I'm insulted.
Oh, you're below.
Yeah,
You're
I'm
good.
below
well
two-
below
I was gonna say
250, doggone it.
Well, that's great.
Has anyone ever been called out for a fake ID based on that, right? So people could look and say, this doesn't look like you, but especially with ladies, all right? I look at your ID and it says here you weigh 120 pounds, but you just got this license 6 months ago. It's a fake ID. Because you don't weigh this.
Now, we do have a story here. It says Shaq says that he weighed 395 when winning his third Lakers title.
395.
All right. That's what I'm saying. Like, and I think he looks. I mean, look, I'm not making fun of him, but he looks physically bigger now. Like, I bet he's got to be close to 400.
I was blown
And
away
he's
the other day.
7'1".
He just had a birthday the other day, and I couldn't remember what I told Steve. It's like, this dude's 48 or whatever it is.
I feel like he's older
He just
than me,
seems
but
to be,
he's not.
you know what I mean? I don't know.
Probably because he's lived a lot of life. We've heard about most of it. He is loaded. He's in every TV commercial for everything.
Yeah, I mean, that seems right to me. But I remember watching him still in, like, high school and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
I mean, Shaquille O'Neal, people forget. Like, I'll never forget it. Like, my brother called me down to the basement. That's where we had the TV, and he's like, you've got to see this kid playing at LSU. And I remember, like, God, it sounds old, but, like, this was the national game on CBS, so that's what we were watching. And it was he just kept dunking. And we were just like, this is unbelievable. We never seen anything like it.
No.
What is the strangest thing that you've seen on yours or someone else's body? 206-421-ROCK.
Hello, Ben. Welcome to the men's room. Liquor and whores.
So in like junior high and high school, I had this buddy Chris, and we played, like football together. We did wrestling together and stuff like that. So we saw each other in, the locker room. We saw each other shirtless all the time. And this is only relevant because one day we realized, wait a second, Chris, you have 4 nipples. So each one of his nipples was like split down the middle for this perfect little distinction to have 2 little half nipples on each nipple.
Wait a minute, explain this to me again. So if
they
I'm looking at
they
them,
were still circular, but they just had a line going down the middle to divide them? Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. Think like a Pokeball, but where the nipple's that middle circle. But it's divided with a line right down the middle, and like the nipple's cut in half. But like it's 2 perfectly distinct nipples, but when you take closer inspection, it's actually 4 half nipples with a distinct line between each. It was
now, did he know that this was kind of weird, or did he just assume everyone had these kind of 4 half nipples?
No, he knew. He knew. He just didn't really talk about it. But once we talked about it, then it was like, yeah, it's a thing. But like, he knew.
It seems like as far as people's body, like, most people, for the most part, look about the same. But nipples to me are like
very distinguishing,
like a thumbprint,
right,
or a
They're
fingerprint.
ubiquitous.
Everybody has
a nipple.
different nipples.
But I feel like after you've been with someone, if they did a police lineup, right, and they don't have the face, they just have the nipples of 10 different women you've been with, be like Sheila, Becky, Joanna, Louise. Seriously, man, because for whatever reason, I think I remember the nipples of any woman because it's always kind of a surprise. It's like a box of Cracker Jacks. I know there's going to be something in the box. I know you have nipples. It's just you can't help but take it in like, they're unusually pale.
I think you could pick someone out of a lineup.
That's what I'm saying. You can line them up just nipples.
Based on their nipples.
They're like, oh, I know her.
Because everybody's are different.
I think I remember the ones that stick out for being
unusual.
Yeah,
such as
like the same thing. I knew a girl that just had long nipples.
All right. Well, I mean, no one ever compliments you on your nipples.
Not in my experience.
I mean,
no. Like, hey, I just need to let you know.
But, I heard that come out of my mouth.
Like great nipples. I just want to let you know.
Just so you know.
You have fantastic nipples.
Right.
You know what? Next time you go to the beach, make sure you approach guys at the pool or whatever it is. Like, hey, man. Hey, you don't know me. I don't know you. Just want to tell you, dude, you got killer nips.
Oh, cool, man. Thanks. My name's Doug.
I appreciate that. Speaking of nipples, as post-childbirth, my wife's nipples got so large, we decided to see how many CDs we can hang on them. How many CDs do you think they can hang off of each nipple before they started to fall off?
13.
4.
15.
15?
Ooh. She could get 15 CDs on each nipple.
For 1 penny.
Before they started to fall off.
15 CDs. Just 1 penny. What is the strangest thing you've seen on yours or someone else's body? 206-421-ROCK.
Hello, Brian. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola.
Hola.
Hey, real quick before I start, I hope at the end of COVID you guys are going to be doing Red Fest again this year. That was a great time, the last one you had. I hope you guys are doing it again.
We do too.
We do too, man. And right now we're just playing it by ear, but hopefully.
Yeah, I hope so. So my story was when I was in the Air Force in the late 90s, I was stationed in Arizona, and one of my coworkers had the worst teeth I had ever seen, which was odd because we got free dental care. And so I'm really not sure how he did it, but we ended up having to call the guy Indian corn teeth. Because whenever he smiled at you, it looked like you were looking at Indian corn.
Yeah. So is it like multicolored and in odd places?
Yeah, one was black, one was yellow, one was brown. It was just, all different colors and all messed up.
And so every time he smiled, you thought of autumn.
Well, a lot of people don't go to the dentist. And if you're not used to going to the dentist and you haven't gone with any regularity in life, it's just not something that you do. So,
yeah, but I feel
now
like
that he's got free dental care, you would hope that he would take advantage of some of those.
I think if your teeth are black.
Usually we had to go once a year.
Yeah, well, I'm still going twice a year.
Did he go?
I never go, and they say, you're doing great. Right. It's always something.
I don't think so.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. I don't know what happens when you get like the brown tooth. It's not like from lack of brushing. You know what I'm saying?
Like a dead root?
Yeah, something like Joe Flacco,
that's what it is, right?
Former quarterback, right? And it's gotten worse over time, but he was drafted, 2008 or something. Fairly normal. They talked to him about a year ago about something. Anyway, he flashed a smile, and I'm like, that is a brown-ass tooth. And then I can't take my eyes off of it. I have no idea what he was talking about. I'm just staring at the brown tooth like, well, the rest of them seem white. And I realized I'm just staring at this poor dude's mouth.
Same thing with Michael Strahan. He just has a gap.
But he fixed it.
He did fix it, but at the time when he had it, it was a very distinct feature in his face.
Yeah, because it's a big-ass gap, man.
It was a big gap. It's kind of like, the linebacker for the Ravens for a while. Guy went to Arizona, Suggs.
Oh. No, Suggs had a different thing going on. Now, Suggs' mouth, and I could never stop looking at his mouth, and I believe he has since gotten it fixed.
He has.
His gums were the size of most people's forearms, but his teeth were like these itty-bitty chiclets, man. You know what I mean? And I'm like, your teeth need to be bigger to make those gums worth it. Or you need like some gum reduction. It reminds me, what was it, Bubba from Forrest Gump? Oh, yeah. Like, I was born with big gums. I'm like, so was Terrell Suggs. But I would never tell him that to his face, and that dude
did
could
Bubba
kill
just
me.
pass away? The guy in the
movie? Guy played Bubba?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I believe he did.
Oh, man.
I swear to you, I thought I read that somewhere. Maybe I'm wrong.
I know he died in the movie. Spoiler alert.
What is the strangest thing you've seen on yours or someone else's body? 206-421-ROCK.
By the way, if you ever just want to feel better about yourself and understand how money works, particularly in Hollywood, they did a before and after with a lot of the celebrities that we're very familiar with today. The one I remember most clearly is Matt Damon, right? So or not Matt Damon, Ben Affleck. So if you see him in an interview, good looking dude, right? Got a decent looking grill. He got it fixed after they did, what was their big movie?
Good Will Hunting?
Good Will Hunting. So they showed a clip of him and then a close up of his mouth. He had a messed up mouth, man. So they started showing a bunch of celebrities, right? So they get their first role and their mouth is just as is. And then as they kind of became like an A-list celebrity, they got the whole thing fixed. Not like a few teeth. I'm thinking he had to get everything pulled and get all of them replaced.
Seems like though
that's pretty popular.
I mean, I would too, especially if my teeth.
I mean,
look
at rap. I mean, you could look at musicians, like athletes. Like, there's a ton of people you can be like, oh, all right.
But you wonder what took so. Like Ben Affleck said, "Hey man, I have a career in front of me. I'm getting my teeth fixed." He did it early on. Terrell Suggs played like 15 years. Like, bro, I know you have the money, and I know you own a mirror, and it's impossible for you to look in the mirror and be comfortable with what you see.
But it's not like he had ugly teeth. He just had
couldn't find them under all those gums.
Right. So I'm like, I don't think that's getting fixed. It's just kind of the way he was. Good news, Miles. Bubba is not dead. He's still alive and
all right, thank goodness. All right. Why does the dentist never have good news for you? Even if you go to the doctor's office once a year for a physical, typically they'll say, "Hey, man, your cholesterol's a little high."
Or they give you something.
There's something that you can work on, but you don't feel like you're just being shook down. When I go to the dentist, it's like nothing I've ever done is right in my life. Right. I don't brush correctly, apparently. I need to get a deep clean. There's this, there's that, there's the threat of this. I mean, it's never like, "Hey, great job. See you in 6 months."
You know what I was told in my last dentist visit? It was like 2 months ago. And look, this is out of my control. So they question how you brush, right? All these different things. I get that. They ask every time. In spite of it being the same dentist, like, we've had this conversation for like 8 years. But this time, so they're like scraping the back of my teeth. And I just like the technician. Then the dentist herself walks in. She's looking at the x-rays. They have a conversation I can't understand. It's just about my teeth, my mouth, whatever. I don't know if it's good or bad. They're just having a conversation. I'm like, man, this is weird. So then the dentist leans over, looks at my mouth, and she's like poking at the back, and she goes, there's a lot of buildup back there. I'm like, man, I tried to brush. She's like, no. You have a lot of minerals in your saliva.
Minerals?
I'm like, all right. Is that a thing? She's like, well, it is for you. I'm like, minerals in my saliva. She's like, yep. Nothing you can do about it, but it's not great for your teeth. I'm like that, because just to your point, fine, I have minerals in my saliva. I know nothing about it. And it's really going to affect your lower teeth. I'm like, of course it is. Of course it is.
And every time I go, they want to take x-rays. Oh, you're due for your x-rays.
You're always due for the x-rays.
I'm always due for the x-rays.
How many times?
When am I not due for the x-rays? Guess what? You're not due for the x-rays this time. I don't get it.
Yeah, every time I go, you get the x-ray, and then they put it up. And at this point, I can recognize my own teeth. Like, it looks just like the one from last
I'm like,
year.
You're shooting an x-ray into my head. Like, they put something over my chest.
Right.
Like, you're aiming this thing in my brain.
It's like wearing a bulletproof vest and someone goes with a headshot.
Yeah,
like, why are you putting this on my chest?
Shoot my chest where the thing is.
Right.
What is the strangest thing that you've seen on yours or someone else's body? 206-421-ROCK.
Hello, Joe. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola, bichola.
Hola.
All right, so quick backstory. Early 20s for me, dating this girl. She's like 5'2", maybe 90 pounds soaking wet. I'm 6'7", 250 pounds at the time. And we have a pretty wild night out and a pretty wilder night back at home. And I get up the next morning, and I'm about to go for another round, and I look down, and my Johnson is black and blue from the head to from the tip to the base. Looks like I got frostbite on it, but it's still plump.
How long did the bruising stay there?
The bruising was there for a good week. I mean, it went through many different shades and variations of black and blue and purple over that time.
Did you go to the doctor?
I didn't go. However, at work the same day, I called and had the nurse call me back through the doctor line because I was freaking out thinking this thing's going to fall off. I don't know what happened. And the nurse said, hey, it can happen. Never heard of it happening, but it can happen.
Did you fracture it or did you strain it? Did they have an explanation?
Well, no, I never actually got seen. They just said it happens, and I guess she was too wild and too tiny.
Wow. Does that mean you never went out again?
No, we dated for about 6 months, but that never happened again.
Okay.
It was just one really wild night.
Let me ask you this, and I'm just picturing myself having this bruised penis, all right?
I'd have walked 6 miles in a snowstorm to the hospital.
How many times a day did you find yourself staring at your own penis?
Oh, God, that day? Too many. I was just terrified that something that I was genuinely concerned that thing was going to fall off.
Yeah, I mean, if I were driving, I would end up rear-ending someone and have to tell the officer, dude, I was staring at my penis, and if I show you, you will understand why.
I had some complications from a vasectomy. It happened many years later, right? So I go and...
What are complications?
I had a problem with the vas deferens either coming unsoldered, untied, whatever the thing is. I don't know what the hell happened, but either way, they had a little knot they were going to take off and all this stuff. And I mean, the swelling was insane. And Mike, I'm not sure if you were working here at this point in time, but I walked in the office, and of course, I had to show everybody this. Because I was like, you've never seen anything like this in your life. So I walked in the castle's
I didn't
office,
ask to.
and I'm like, look at this. And he's like,
Right.
oh no, I didn't want to see that.
Yeah, basically walk into work. I was like,
you gotta
rips
see
his
this.
pants to the side. I'm like, that is one big, huge black testicle, bro.
You gotta see that.
Why is it so black? I'm a black dude, and I'm asking you, why is that so black?
It's just like, wow.
Why is that so big, and why are you showing me?
Because you got to see this.
No, you were right. It's like, I don't want to see that, but part of me's glad I saw that.
I'm glad I dodged that bullet.
What is the strangest thing that you've seen on yours or someone else's body? 206-421-ROCK.
Hello, Tom. Welcome to the men's room.
Hey, so I got another birthmark story.
All right.
Except I like to brag and say mine's bigger. Mine's above my left hip. It covers my entire left butt cheek, and it goes all the way down halfway to my left knee.
Whoa.
That's a birthmark?
Oh, well, I tell different stories. It's like when I was in the Navy, and people ask, hey, what's that on your back? And I tell them, I leaned against a nuclear reactor and got burned. Or my other one is I'm biracial, so I tell people I couldn't decide whether I wanted to be dark or light.
What color is your birthmark?
It's a dark brown.
And is it definitive? I mean, is there a clear line between where it is and where it's not, or does it kind of bleed through?
Up at the top, it's a definitive line, but at the bottom, it kind of blends into the rest of my skin.
Is the skin the same? Does it have more hair on it? Is it?
Oh, no, it's definitely more leathery.
That's always a great description.
Leather.
Hey, touch my leathery side, mama.
Yeah, exactly. The leather cheek.
Yeah.
You'll like this part.
Yeah. Leather cheeks. Why do they call you leather cheek?
I'll show you. What is the strangest thing you've seen on yours or someone else's body? 206-421-ROCK.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. As we continue to listen, learn, and grow, we are amplifying Black voices and perspectives in an effort to start a new COVID-19 vaccine conversation. We're sharing stories intended to help us navigate this unprecedented time together and to co-create solutions in support of the Black community. Hear these stories at weconsiderwa.org.